Tuples and arrays are super handy when you want to group values together or store a fixed collection of elements. And knowing how to use them will absolutely level up your Rust game. Let's jump right into it. Alright, first up, tuples. Think of tuples like lightweight containers for grouping multiple values of possibly different types together. So if you want to return more than one value from a function, a tuple is your best friend. Let me show you what that looks like. So what's happening here? We've created a tuple called person, and inside it, we've got &str, an i32, and an f64. This is totally valid in Rust. Unlike arrays, tuples can mix different types. And to access each value, we use a dot followed by the index, person.0, person.1, and so on. Tuple indexes start from 0. You can also destructure a tuple, which makes the code way more readable. Like this. Here we are using tuple destructuring to unpack these elements into 3 separate variables: name, age, and weight, respectively. Way cleaner, right? Now, let's look at a function that returns a tuple. So here, we're returning 2 values wrapped inside a tuple. Rust makes this super ergonomic. No need to create a struct if you just need to return a couple of related values quickly. Tuples can even contain other tuples. It's kind of like Inception, a tuple inside a tuple. Just make sure not to go too deep, or you'll confuse yourself more than the compiler. Now let's switch gears and talk about arrays. Arrays in Rust are fixed-size collections where all elements must be of the same type. If you want to store a list of integers or characters, for example, arrays are a perfect choice. Here's a basic array. Just like tuples, we access elements using zero-based indexing. Now, arrays in Rust are statically sized, meaning you can't change their size at runtime. If you need something more flexible, we'll explore vectors in an upcoming video. You can also specify the type and size explicitly like this. Here, i32, 5, means it's an array of 5 i32 integers. And here's a neat trick. You can create an array with the same value repeated using shorthand syntax. This will create an array of 10 zeros. Pretty cool, right? This is super useful when you want to initialize an array with default values. Now here's a gotcha, out-of-bounds access. Here we have an array of size 3. And we are trying to access the element at index 5, which is not there. Rust will catch this at runtime and panic, which is a fancy word for crash, because index 5 is out of bounds. So always be careful when indexing arrays. If you want to handle this safely, you can use the .get method, which returns an option. Check this out. This is much safer and more idiomatic Rust. And yes, this leverages pattern matching, which we already covered in previous videos. You can also iterate over arrays using a loop. .iter returns an iterator over the elements, and we'll be covering iterators in more detail later. Alright, to wrap this up, use tuples when you want to group values of different types. They're great for returning multiple values from a function or temporarily grouping things without creating a full struct. Use arrays when you need a fixed-size list of the same type and want quick access with indexing or iteration. Before we go, quick challenge for you. Try writing a function that takes a tuple of i32, representing a rectangle's width and height, and returns an array of 2 elements, the area and the perimeter. Drop your answers in the comments below.